Hi, my name is Rich. I use the he, him pronouns, and you're watching my YouTube channel where I play amazing tabletop role-playing games with friends. This is part of Star Wars Saturdays, which is bled over into Sundays sometimes because it's Saturday somewhere in the world time zones. I don't know. Date, calendar, time, something. SWS is where I each month will choose a different RPG and hack it if it needs to be hacked to be a Star Wars game, which is fun. We've played lots of different small press, indie, and sometimes OSR tabletop RPGs. I run this for the Gauntlet, which is a community of fans of said games across the world. You should check us out at gauntlet-rpg.com. And this month, we are playing a two-shot of a game that I found on itch called What's So Tempting About the Dark Side. Evidently, there was a What's So Cool About craze for a brief period on itch, I think a couple of years ago. And the designer of What's So Tempting About the Dark Side, who is Litza Bronwyn, was inspired to jump in on that and created this game. It uses the core engine of Trophy, and also it's based on What's So Cool About Outer Space. It's very Trophy. It's very Trophy. Trophy is this dark, so it's Trophy Dark and Trophy Gold, these two RPGs that have very similar mechanics, based somewhat off of Cthulhu Dark, built for dark fairy tales. And it's created by Jesse Ross, a person I personally know, like see in Meat Space, who is a wonderful individual. So I always want to support any Trophy related stuff that I can. And so I'm excited to do a Star Wars thing in Trophy. Now, Sabine beat me to the punch for running Trophy in Star Wars because during one of our Star Wars mini cons, they ran it Trophy just straight up, Trophy Dark, with folks going to a Sith temple. It was pretty awesome. But this is a different approach. So what's so tempting about the dark side has player characters who are all Force users. And during character creation, you decide, how do you use the Force? Are you a light side, dark side, or somewhere in between? I am leaning directly into the assumptions about Jedi and the Force made in What's So Tempting About the Dark Side. So just fully giving in to how this game presents it so that we can play this game as it was written, because that way I don't have to hack anything. I'm lazy. That's what I'm telling you. I'm lazy. I'm pretty excited to give this thing a shot. I have played a bit of Trophy, and I know Greg has played a good bit of Trophy, but it's a very cool game. It's a very ruinous game, and characters do not survive long in this game. So I'm just telling you all that as warnings. The 2 sessions might be about all we get out of one of you. That's not a threat. It's just this is how the mechanics work. So the time setting for this game is after Palpatine dies. So the New Republic is growing across the galaxy, but there's still Imperials. There's still folks who use the dark side. We will meet one of them soon, maybe sooner than we expect. And yeah, I think that's about it. We do have safety tools. Everybody's marked lines, veils, and ask first. Those are a few of the tools we're using, but we also have the X card. So if you hit a point where you're like, I didn't realize I needed to line this particular thing, or I'm super uncomfortable with this content, please say so. The X card is important to me. It is a tool that way back in my gaming days, I wish I'd had. And so I wish you to avail yourself of the X card. So all you have to do is you can say, hey, I need to X card a thing. You can type in a chat. You can do this. Also, I believe, yep. Oh, it's not on this one. Oh, yeah, it is. Bottom right-hand corner of the die roller, there's an X card button. So if you feel uncomfortable speaking out, you can click that button and it'll pop up for everybody and say, hey, an X card's been played. We'll pause. And I may, if it's not clear to me what was X carded, I may ask, hey, can I ask what content was X carded? I'm not going to challenge it. You don't have to defend yourself. That is not the intent. I just want to make sure I understand. I was public school educated. Sometimes things right over my head. So just want to make sure I know what was discarded. Then we excise it from our play. It's gone. We don't need to evaluate. We don't need to. It's X carded, so it's gone. And if we need to pause for whatever reason, we'll do that. Pause the recording. Whatever makes folks feel the most comfortable is important to me, because you guys, as people, are way more important than the fiction that we're creating. We're here to have a good time, a dark time, a scary time, a tempting time, I guess, but not a bad time. So with all of that out of the way, we, for the first time, get to have folks introduce themselves and then tell us a bit about their Force user, because that's what it says in the game. So you're Force users now. Your character, your PCs, your player characters are Force users. I'm now changing the name of the tab to Force user. So I'm compliant. Let's start from the right-hand side of our character keeper, heading towards the left, which means that Greg, you get to kick us off.
Hey everyone, I'm Greg. I use he, him pronouns. I am playing Jido, who also uses he, him pronouns. Jido is a sort of pseudo apprentice like everyone else. I guess we've all kind of struck out on our own. And carries a lightsaber that is an artifact of his fallen friend. His fallen friend is Foss, the Ithorian. She has fallen to the dark side, but he holds on to her lightsaber. He has a history as a shipbreaker. He used to take apart ships. I think he was sort of spaceborn, and Foss, before she fell, kind of showed him the better parts of nature and all of that. So he's fallen in love with nature, but now Foss is out there twisting it to her dark desires.
Okay, questions. So you're spaceborn. You're a shipbreaker, void vulture, like a scavenger.
Yep.
Haven't seen a whole lot of plants, but learned about the love of plants from your Ithorian friends. So the Ithorians, those are the hammerheads from the original. They're the ones that are very big and slow and lumbering and have two mouths, which is their voices are low and rumbling, and they don't normally speak basic, which is our common, or the common language. So she told you all about plants. Did she ever take you to a forest or some?
Yeah, I imagine like at the academy, wherever we were trained, was probably planet side. And she taught him things sort of on the side after lessons and between stuff. She was probably like gardening, and Jido took to it okay. But yeah.
Nice. I like that. I like that a lot. Sweet. And do you have a spaceship?
Yes. Oh, yes. Our spaceship.
Yeah. Tell us about your spaceship a little bit.
The Duros Traveler. I believe the Duros Traveler is probably kind of assembled from, parts from other ships. Jido has probably been, it's the, what is it, like the rat rod sort of built in the garage kind of thing. Assembled from the parts of other ships. It's roomy inside. It's got like not a whole lot of like set off things. It's just like one big container that walls have been constructed or added or just made out of a cloth or something to kind of demarcate different areas of the ship. But generally, it's just one big container with engines.
And I'm going to ask you a question that you should probably have seen coming.
Uh-oh.
What's she named? Your ship?
The Duros Traveler.
Oh, you already have that? You already have it. I'm so proud of you. There it is. Steven, you've still got a pick. Oh my gosh. I didn't even see that you stuck a pick in there. I adore that picture. That is just delightful. Man, that thing just looks like a blunt instrument. That is cool. That is cool. Awesome. Let's see. Yeah, so Jido, what did Foss tell you about why she fell? What tempted her to the dark side?
I think it was the power and potential of Sith alchemy, which has been used to twist people but she was going to basically create some sort of dark plant thing that would take over worlds.
So take over worlds for what purpose? Like to rid people who are polluting those worlds, or
Yeah, probably something like that.
little poison ivy action going
Yeah,
on
yeah,
there?
yeah. A little, yeah, exactly. A little poison ivy, eco-terrorism kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I mean, I'm not putting words in your mouth. If
Yep.
you're cool with that, awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Eco-terrorist. A little factoid about Ithorians that I want to throw in, Greg, make sure that we're on the same page. Ithorians travel the galaxy as groups in these things called herd ships. They're these like kind of classic UFO circular things that have a forest, a literal living, breathing forest in the middle. Are we cool if that thing is in our fiction? Potentially. I mean, it may not actually ever show up, but I love
possibly
that
even like a corrupted herd ship or something.
What? Gosh, just how would you even think? Who would think of such a thing? Thank you for throwing that out there. Writing down corrupted herd ship. No reason. Just like to take notes about the cool things that you say. Sweet. That is a wonderful list of things that you shared with me. Thank you, Greg. I'm excited to see Tito on screen. Now, welcome to Star Wars Saturdays, which is happening on a Sunday to Kay. If you could introduce yourself and tell us about your character, please.
Yes, hi, I'm Kay. I use she, they pronouns. I am a Star Wars newbie. And just put that out front for anyone watching. So when I make blunders, that's why. And my character is Zagreus Vor, he, him. He is an Arcanian. And he is, let's see, where should I start with him? So he's from Arcania, and he comes from a rather well-off family there, and was a valedictorian in a Arcanian university, was studying medicine and biotech, and was slated to do very, very well when, as a gift from a visiting dignitary, he was given a lightsaber. And he started using it and started sort of questioning some of the preset path that was made for him by his family and through some genetic engineering, and decided he wanted to become a Jedi, much to his parents' chagrin. They were not happy at all about it. They gifted him with a diamond-encrusted blaster for his safety when he left, and continually try and dissuade him from being a Jedi and to come back home and once more walk the line of where he should be for his status and his Arcanian superiority. But he's also a very well noted lightsaber fighter. It's one of his skills, and it's something he really enjoys and feels perhaps in his most natural state when he's wielding his lightsaber.
This is so cool. So the Arcanians are not fully explored in canon, which is perfect, right? What you tell us about the Arcanians will be our truth for this game. I am curious about the lightsaber fighting, because there, as we've seen in the original trilogy, lots of different ways for light. So do you imagine that you're saying Zagreus? I want to make sure I pronounce it right.
Zagreus.
Zagreus. Zagreus' lightsaber fighting. Is that dueling against other people with lightsabers? Is that like blocking blaster bolts? What's his best skill as a lightsaber fighter?
I think it's his fluidity.
Okay.
I think he moves in a way that just makes it like especially good defensively.
Mm-hmm.
But so for avoiding blows, be that from a blaster or from someone else with a lightsaber trying to dispatch him or things like that, he just moves in a way that's very in sync. And occasionally I think that leads to really good disarmaments. I don't think he's the best at always landing a blow. That's something he's struggled with. But his maneuverability for getting out of the way of things and sort of blocking or cutting off someone, like disarming and things like that.
Okay, cool. Now, we'll say that the Jedi Academy that you've been taught under is a little traditional in that it's a very aesthetic order, do not love things, but you're fabulously wealthy, and that's something else that you have. How has Zagreus struggled with or accepted that teaching against his upbringing?
So it's like a 50-50. There's a lot of it that he appreciates. Wealth sort of greases hands a lot in Arcanian society from what the little tidbits that I've read.
Mhm.
And it denotes status between both wealth and merit. It's a bit of a meritocracy. So the idea that people there are a little more equal within the academy, that is one subject that's not there and doesn't influence it, is something that he's appreciated, and some of the simplicity. I think there are things that he at times misses. Like, I think he enjoys like very plush things. And so like sleeping on this this junker of a ship, he doesn't necessarily mind the idea of not having his own quarters, but I think he misses some of the frills and has been trying to dip on that. And I think food is a big thing for him. And so some of the sort of like insta meal, this or that, very plain aestheticism with that has been hard. But he had no problem getting rid of like all the jewelry and things that he sort of had to wear and take part in, because jewels and gem hunting are sort of a huge thing in Arcanian society.
Fascinating. Very, very cool. I like it a lot. Okay. I think we'll move on to Danielle now and learn a bit about your character, Danielle. Introduce yourself. Tell us about him.
Hi, so I'm Danielle. I use she, her pronouns, and I'll be playing Rone Celadon, who also uses she, her pronouns, a Mirialan Jedi. They are they have green skin, and then they have tattoos that apparently they add whenever they do something really notable, or something like that. So the amount of tattoos you get is the amount of kind of big things you've accomplished. I think Rone, she has like a few, but not like a whole lot yet. She is, if anything, kind of the opposite of Zagreus's story. Her family was very traditional and very aware of the Force, and going into sending your kids off to be Jedi, I think, is like a big thing for either Mirialan families and just like people who are very aware of the Force. And they were hoping to send, I think, her and her sister off. And I think her sister is the one who was like, actually, I have other things to do with my life. I don't need to go take all of these crazy vows and live without whatever. I'm going to go off and just, go explore the galaxy. So she kind of pieced out. I think her older sister and Rone was like, I am gonna be the best Jedi ever, actually, to kind of help make up for that. So I think she has been the Jedi equivalent of the person who's like, I love books and they are my best friends, and who needs anything else? Why would you need anything else? I think she has she's got this bow staff that she uses when she's not like on missions. She's either like practicing that kind of meditative Tai Chi like practice with the bow staff to keep herself. I think that's kind of what she's known for, is a sort of martial arts kind of, with and even without the lightsaber, just as her way of going through things. So it's like, if ever it's like, I could be having a feeling or I could be meditating about it and therefore not feeling that feeling. is I think it's maybe not the best way to be in love with the Force, but yeah. Exactly. Yeah, she probably does need a hug pretty bad. I think though that she really does love the Force and loves the clarity that it brings and loves being able to tap into that, and just wishes that everything else could be as clear and chill as it is when you're in the zone. So I think she does have a small family photo with her sister in it still. I think her family probably.
Uh-oh. Did
Oh,
you just
no.
freeze for you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
wait.
hello.
Appeared
Hello.
this.
My
Hey.
internet's up and down. There was a storm here yesterday, so I think the connection is a little. Oh, dog.
Yeah, Peter decided to say good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. So let's see, where is I? Oh yeah, I have a small family photo. She has a small family photo, and then the bow staff. And I think she has a blaster because it was like you just have to carry one when you're out on these missions. And I feel like in my head, I don't know, Greg, how you feel, but I feel like Jito, if you had an extra one or there was one somewhere and you're like, you just got to take it. I feel like maybe his idea of technology and her idea of what is necessary technology are probably like different. So I could see him being like, just take this. So yeah.
Nice. Now, can you say the first name again? Is it Rone or
Rone? That's it.
Rone?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Just want to make sure I had that. And if you could please, at your leisure, a name for the sister who pieced out and is traipsing around the galaxy having a wonderful time, not being an ascetic Jedi monk type. That would be great, because you of course have to run into her at some point so that you can see the two worlds as a country mouse and city mouse have a reunion. That sounds good. Awesome. Now this isn't in What's So Tempting About the Dark Side, but it's important to me. Let's talk about relationships between the three of you. So, Jito, Rone or Zagreus, which one of the two do you most either look up to or feel like you need to lead to teach them how to exist in the galaxy?
Oh, I think I can I answer both because it's two questions. I think I do look up to Rone, because she is so committed to this, and I think Jito's a little like intimidated by how good she is with the light side of the Force. And is probably a little ashamed of, he's touched the darkness a little bit with his friend, and so I think he's also he sees a little bit of that darkness in Zagreus and is trying to protect Zagreus from going further, which is probably an emotion he shouldn't be having because that's fear. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think it's he's trying to keep Zagreus from going too far and looking up to Rone. That's at least the initial impression.
That's great. Zagreus, I think we already know what your thoughts of the Duros Traveler are. So what's the one thing? Ooh, okay. I don't even know if this is a fair question, but it's what's come to mind, and I'll throw it out. And you can ask for a different question. What's the one thing you wish that you could give to Rone that you can't?
Oh man. I think as someone who grew up very lauded, who at times for the most part finds myself very naturally gifted and like I want to give to her, impart to her, this sort of sense of like the duty isn't to your, because that's what he's sort of had let go of, is like this duty not to your parents but to your own self-being and self-worth. Because I feel like there's like, and correct me if I'm wrong, Danielle, but I get the sense that maybe there's some slight resentment of the sister for not following the directed path. And as someone who very much strayed from his directed path, I think I would want to give Ronay sort of peace in both her own choices and her own, and who she is as an individual, not just the path, but also in accepting the fact that her sister did pick something else.
Nice. And then Zagreus, what's something about Jito, a habit or an outlook that annoys you the most? Because you did take that one dark side point, so we got to bleed just a little bit of that in.
Yeah, no, I love it. I think, let's see. I think that what annoys me about Jito a little is I'm annoyed because I sort of am envious, I think, of their sort of what feels to me as like a come what may attitude. I think there's a rigidity in himself that he does not like, that comes from just being like a strict student for a really long time. And he feels this naturalness with the lightsaber, but everywhere else in his life, he does not feel that sort of natural affinity. And so he's always sort of combing by book and things like that and how things should be. And the fact that Jito does not ever seem to consult the book is what it feels like, is both alarming and something envy driving. These free hither dither humans and whatever they do.
Oh, those short-lived humans. That's so good. That is wonderful. Oh, Danielle asked a quick question in chat. I just want to check in with you.
I'm pondering.
Awesome. Zagreus, let's say that you had a chance. You knew Foss before she fell.
Okay.
What did you admire about Foss?
What did I admire about Foss? I think I really admire, so like, I don't think plants are a thing where I grew up, because it's a frigid tundra planet.
Yeah.
And so I felt like the prior dedication I had to studying the body Foss had for plants. And so I admired her studiousness and her sort of just complete seeming knowledge of plants, because I felt like she and I could have really in-depth comparison conversations that probably went over a lot of people's heads about the bodies of different species and plants, and this question of like sentience.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he doesn't speak about Foss anymore. I think he was very like upset about her fall to the, not upset, but I think he was sort of shocked by how someone he thought was such a paragon of intelligence could, which I'm setting him up to be such an idiot.
It works totally. There's not like a tumultuous storm in Jito's heart at all. No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
No, yeah. That someone, he has yet to have enough real world experience to understand how someone could be tempted by the dark side. And so he is
you're fabulously wealthy. What's the dark side got to give me?
What's the dark side got to give me? Like, what is it? What could it really offer us? Like, I don't, there's nothing really great to it. Because yeah.
Is it like all of Zagras's worldly experience? He feels like, I've already seen all that, or is it more like that kind of merchant mentality? Like, I mean, they've never made it look worth the profit margin to me. Like, does he still have any of that mentality of his family? Like, you only make the deals where you can come out on top, and that feels too risky.
Ooh, I think it's maybe not. I love that a lot. I don't know if it's exactly that. I think it's more along the line that he's never even really considered it. Like, I think he's literally, so like he was literally on his homeworld, in Arcania, where it was just all like study, 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 do this, do that, sort of visit with dignitaries, all plush, to right to the academy. And I don't think they've been on this ship very long, and that's it. Like,
Man, I love it. Zagreus is a babe in the woods. So
he's
good.
a babe. He is. He's very much a babe in the woods, which is like his naivety about the fact that like someone would fall. Because I don't think he's ever encountered like anyone in any way other than like, I imagine there's an undercurrent in Arcanian society from the fact that they were heavily involved with like the dark side and the Sith, apparently, of like synth mentality that he has no idea is Sith mentality. He just thinks that's just like a way, so he has no idea it actually like relates to the dark side at all.
Nice.
And so he doesn't even really know what it is. He's heard of it. It's just like it's like the boogeyman. He has no practical sight or experience for it.
Great.
I've amended mine to, I want to protect Zagreus from falling to this friend like Voss. I see the danger in his ignorance.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's good. That's good. Awesome. Thank you so much, Kate. That is wonderful stuff about Zagreus. Let us move to Rone. I must lead with this question. I hope you're okay with it, Danielle. Which of the two of your compatriots do you secretly harbor feelings for, and why?
The best Jedi question ever. I love it. Yeah, I feel like I'm trying to, so did Zagreus join the academy recently? Because usually you have to kind of like be training since you were young. So I don't know if like, because this is a little bit, we all kind of like joined post Return of the Jedi. Like this is all a little bit everywhere. So do both of you guys feel like you joined up, younger? Like did Jito join up younger, or were you an adult? I assume Zagreus obviously was an adult.
Yeah, I think
Rone was probably.
Okay, let's start off. So, Kay, it feels like, has Zagreus been here a few months or a few years?
I would say maybe a handful of months. Okay. I think he got pushed along the track a bit farther because of some of his prowess. And I think maybe he was like, I feel like he's like the kid who like in your last year of high school transferred to a new school, like as a senior.
Gotcha. Cool. All right. And then Greg, for Jito, has he been here a few months or a few years?
I think just to make it relevant with Foss and all of that, I think Jito was like a very young shipbreaker, like possibly child labor laws, if everyone's okay with that.
Why am I laughing at that? Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So a very young shipbreaker. And so he did join the academy at like probably like 14, 13, like, yeah.
So it's like he was a part of the secret academy right before. Yeah, I like that. You're maybe one of the early students. I like that. And then
early student, yeah. And I could go into small spaces as a little kid shipbreaker, right? So
okay, that makes sense. I feel like Rone was probably friends, like probably knew Jito and Foss, and kind of like knew that there was, I don't know, maybe something there, maybe not, like that they were tight, but like always liked hanging around, Jito, also not very super aware of like what all was going on with herself. But I think Zagreus turning up and being like very kind and very like, so you probably like leaving those little hints like, you should do this whether or not you want to. You know, I feel like that would be really unbalancing for her. So I could see her kind of being like, oh, that's really nice. Wait a minute. So I think probably Zagreus, but yeah, I am.
Nice. And then, sorry, a follow-up question. How has Renee tried to show it to Zagreus that he's completely missed? Like,
I think that Rone has like offered to show him how to use like other non-lightsaber weapons because he's so good with a lightsaber. And I think Zagreus is probably like, oh, I am so good with this lightsaber. Thank you so much. I've got my specialty. I'm just going to be over here doing my thing. Possibly. Like, I don't know if he.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's very much like, I need to perfect the one thing I am doing. And so he's like, that's very kind of you, but I need to focus on this aspect of lightsaber fighting. But perhaps once I have perfected this, then I can move on to attempting to utilize you call it a nunchuck. Like,
yes,
that's great.
Yes, that makes.
Is not having multiple weapons too many attachments? Should we not simply have the one? Like,
oh, wow, bro.
It goes completely over his head that like how actually like insulting some of that could be.
Yes. Yeah, that's perfect.
He doesn't intend it that way, but it just comes out.
Okay, so Renee, now we must ask a question about Jito. What is something on Jito's ship that you've considered stealing? Because it's just, you won't. You would never do such a thing, but it's just so interesting or beautiful or lovely.
I think it's less that I would steal something on it. I think I've been tempted to not steal it to go on joyrides, but like we didn't really have, like I've been tempted to, like, especially when he talks about like being on ships and all the cool things you see and all the stuff you see. I think that it reminds her of this idea of like the wanderlust that like her sister has. And when it's just practice room barracks pretty much all of the time, I think it's just like super tempting to be like, what if you just kind of like went out into space for a little bit and kind of saw things. So I think she's really tempted to like learn about how to pilot it. Maybe I'm not even sure she knows how, but like to just even drive it around.
Awesome. And then I have one other question that's more like to Jito. I'd love to insert your character, like Renee, into a bit of the Foss fall from grace. How did you convince Jito not to go with Foss when she fell and left the order? Or did you basically just stop Jito by knocking him out or shooting him with a stun blaster? Or how did you keep Jito from falling with Foss? And whether Jito believes that is true, it's totally up to Jito, of course.
True. I think that, and yeah, tell me if this is okay, Greg. I think that because we had a lot of kids from all over, we probably don't have a lot of people in the way of mechanics. I think that we probably don't have too many ships, And I think the night that like I knew Foss was gone and I was kind of like, oh, I bet Jito's gonna make a break for it, I probably went in to the area to like where we had some of our ships and things like that, and I just busted up a lot of them. And then like I created some sort of havoc, and then I went like the only time I've ever done something like this, and then went to like the master and been like, there were these bandits and all this stuff is broken now and nobody knows how to fix it, and we need somebody who can fix this stuff, and we need to get Jito up right now in the middle of the night to go fix it. I don't know, I feel like I just added a bunch of stuff to his like to-do list.
I love
like
it.
Look at how much we need you, not and
Oh god, and Jito has no idea.
I think Jito blames Foss. I think Jito was like,
Foss
I was going to come with you, but you sabotaged all of the ships. Yeah.
Oh, or like Foss was like, before I peace out, gonna damage this so no one can track me down.
Well, yeah, that's what Jito thinks. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Jito thinks. Well, that's what Jito thinks. Yes, that's what Jito thinks.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good.
So good. I love that.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Oh, man, that's great. Are there any questions that popped up in your all's minds that you want to ask or clarify about the things that we've discussed, or introduce a new piece? Otherwise, we're going to go to break and then jump into the action. But I just want to check in. Is there any question where you're like, oh, I wanted to ask X or Y? You're good, Greg?
One idea. Which is, how long have we been like on this ship out of the academy?
I was thinking not long at all, right?
Like I'm thinking like maybe like, is it like legitimately been like a week or 2 weeks or like a month or two?
I think week sounds good to me. Like I want it.
I like
in
that.
My head, I was thinking your master who I was stuck in the NPCs, Nova Kalos, he found out about a dark side threat, sent you guys because there was no one else. You went, you defeated this individual, and now you have them, but they're still alive. That's where we pick up is in the aftermath of that. And it's been a week, so you basically hopped a couple of times in hyperspace, went to this planet in the middle of nowhere, crazy lightsaber fight duel going on, and we may ask a couple questions to define that just a little bit more when we come back from break, but then you pick up and now you're back on the Duros Traveler, and like, now what do you do, kind of?
I love it.
Yeah, sweet. All right, I am going to go to break, so let us pause our recording. It's only been a couple of hours since the three of you worked together to defeat Xenia Halcyon. Xenia Halcyon is an Emrusin. She was strong in the ways of the dark side, and it took all three of you working together to defeat her. Zagreus, you, at the end, had the opportunity to make a killing blow. Why did you spare her life?
I don't think he's taken a life. And in any way, shape, or form, or really, really hurt anyone. And the sort of offensive blows are not his specialty. And so he tells himself that the calculated odds were best for him to disarm her. Where in fact, I think he was just hesitant to make a kill.
All right. I like it. And Rone or Jito, which of the two of you now has her lightsaber in your possession?
I don't know if you have a feeling.
No, I think Rone should have it. Jito already has someone else's lightsaber.
Oh, right. Yeah. So I think she has it in the sense of like, I'll keep this twisted weapon of the dark side safe over here. Nice. Like locked up somehow.
And then, Renee, you've heard the rumors. Of course, Nova Kalos would have confirmed this if you asked him, but it's not like he would have taught this to the students. But the reason that, and I'm going with a little bit of like Star Wars lore, but I think it's fun, like non-canon, I guess. But the reason that the Sith use these red lightsabers is that they take the crystal that is placed inside of each of the lightsabers, the kyber crystal, and they bleed off its energy and kind of like break it in a way. And that's why it's like a red colored saber. So you know that, Renee, either from rumors or I don't know if you were the best girl who went to Nova Kalos and he would have confirmed it, but regardless, you know it to be true. And that kyber crystal is there. Have you taken it out of the lightsaber to look at the crystal? Or do you, maybe it's only been a couple hours, maybe that's not a thing you do right away. But forget I asked that question.
Yeah. I think she's definitely gonna like pop it open to look at it. Like definitely has it back there.
Oh man, dang it, storms. Okay, we'll when Daniel rejoins, we'll get that. Greg and Kay, let me ask the two of you. Which of the two of you suggested the possibility of, because you've got this live dark force user, of freezing them in carbonite?
I think Zagreus is sort of the first to go for that. I think that's maybe some kind of protocol. Really big.
There we go.
There we go. Yay. Some kind of protocol to that, as well as I think freezing something just seems very much of his world.
Hey, can you hear us okay, Danielle? Okay, awesome. So the last I'd heard was you'd taken the kyber crystal out of the lightsaber housing and looked at it, right? Cool. I moved on to ask a question, and Zagreus volunteered. Zagreus has suggested, and we'll pick up with like maybe right after that suggestion is offered, freezing this Xenia Halcyon in carbonite. So the three of you have stowed Xenia in. Gito, I don't imagine that you took off in the Duros Traveler with a working brig. So, Gito, where have you stowed Xenia Halcyon? Oh, you're on mute.
Just to be clear, she's not frozen right now.
No, that's a suggestion. Yeah, you do not have the ability to carbonite freeze her. Right. That was a thing you'd have to go somewhere else to do.
Well, and I think that the Duros Traveler hadn't been sabotaged a little bit. It might be easier. So I think we've just sort of kept her in the back. There's probably like a docking airlock that we've stowed her in. That way, you know, there is technically two doors to it, but one of them is not a door she's at all interested in opening. So that's the closest we have to a brig, is that she is stuck in the airlock. There's of course a window, and we can talk. But it's an old airlock. It's not one of the fancy ones with just force fields that, you know, keep space out. It's a door.
So she's in a room. Awesome. Secured to quarters. There was a question in chat that I just want to say out loud. What was Xenia doing? Nova Kalos was reported in Nova Kalos, and he sent you all out because she had killed a large group of people in a small village on another planet. You bopped through hyperspace a couple places, came and found, yeah, sure enough, oh, dark side user, got to stop her. She saw 3 people coming at her and fought you and was defeated. Yeah. So she's currently held in a room, super secure room, but you know, it works. And Rone, where in the ship are you when Zagreus suggests let's freeze her in carbonite? That It's a great idea. Are you in the cockpit? Like, this is a big ship, right? So the three of you could be on the bridge. I mean, that's a big ship. You could be on the bridge. You could be in the. Is there a lounge, Cheeto? I imagine there's some kind of place to hang out, right? Or
Yeah, there's a table that's like welded to somewhere in the ship. Yeah.
there you go. The table welded to a ship, or down in the hold, not far from where you've stashed Xenia Halcyon.
Yeah, I think she's definitely like posted up at the table, like thinking, like, okay, like we'd planned this far, but I don't remember planning this part. And being like, all right, what do we. So if there was a Jedi Council, we would need to bring her to them. I've read those things. How do you think Master Collis would want to interrogate her? I I don't know what the stats are on freezing people in carbonite. Like they don't always come back, do they? And I suppose I guess I'd be asking Zagreus like, hey, how fatal is that? Like I've only heard the hollows about bounty hunters doing that. And you know, there's always like a disgusting carbonite accident in those.
So I feel like Zagreus would know what the actual percentages are. Versus
Sure. Throw out what percentages you want. That's now true.
Okay, so that's mostly just fool's stories and errands. There's about like a 97% success rate with unthawing people. Very rarely, and that's usually only in individuals that have physiological issues, and this dark sider seems to be in peak health condition from their body ratings. When I took and investigated them while they were prone, I would find it very circumspect that they would not come out of it fine. I do believe bringing it to our master would be the smartest choice, though, as there is no Jedi Council.
Unfortunately. It just I see it. Thank you. Thank you for those stats. You always know all the, you know, I knew you would know the numbers. It just doesn't seem very Jedi. Right? So like is there this this can't be the way that we're supposed to deal with people, right? I mean, she's not going to hurt us where she is, right? Unless is the door weak or something.
I feel like both our heads turn to look at Cheeto when we're like, is the door weak? Shh.
I think the door will hold. I think we'll be okay. She just sounds like 50% sure. I never caught a Sith before.
Yeah. Well, why don't we just take stations up outside the door then, okay? Like I'll start and I'll go until you know tonight and then we can trade off. And if she busts out this way, then we'll be able to apprehend her. And if she busts out the other way, then it's not our problem.
I would say that we should definitely do shifts, but I think it's pertinent that perhaps, Renee, you and I do the shifts so that Jito can continue manning the ship without concern of fatigue.
That makes sense.
Jita looks around a little unsure. Okay. I'll see if I can get the carbonite freezer up. But yeah, I agree. It doesn't seem like a Jedi thing to do.
Yeah. And I mean, if you need someone else to like fly the ship or something like that, so you can, so you don't get exhausted really. You know that I can always go take a look at the controls. I'm pretty sure you have it set up already.
Yes, but I think, and Zagreus will put like like a well manicured hand on Jito's shoulder. I think it's best, given past issues that Jito, we that we do not force upon you having to deal with someone so of a certain nature.
Hmm. And I
Rone
was
just
thinking that you do not fully understand the dangers.
Hmm.
Hmm.
No, I will be fine.
well, I'll take the first shift. So whoever is gonna relieve me, you guys can figure that out. And Rone looks absolutely like horrified as to what like is going on. But basically picks up her stuff and heads out to sort of like sit down next to the door, like the door is here. Actually, probably across the other side.
I love it. So I definitely want to just focus in on Renee some time, but whatever montage happens for time passing. Renee, do you end up sitting on a chair, leaning against the wall, sitting down on the deck? What do you?
Just sitting down on the floor, like leaning against the wall. We don't really have a lot of chairs. I think initially she sort of slouched, but then you see her like sitting in this perfect like meditative pose, like with her legs folded. Because like while she's here and while things are quiet, you might as well get a little meditation in.
And you're trying to meditate. Is that something easy for Renee after all these years of practice? Like you can slip into that state?
I think so. I think that there's a lot when she's really stressed, it's a little more difficult, but she really kind of cuts through and just sort of slips into this. It's just sort of like a gentle awareness of everything.
Nice.
And she doesn't usually like to do it in places where being aware of everything is chaos, but feels like it's really important to kind of be fully aware of everything that's going on right now.
So you slip into that state for a little while, some time passes. You feel this tug. Imagine like a mental tug, like a someone tugging at your sleeve to get your attention. What do you do?
I think that she sits up a little straighter and she just kind of like follows the little tug and just kind of like tugs it back a little bit, sort of like goes mentally to wherever that is.
Nice. It's not far away. And then you hear a woman's voice, a female voice. Ah, good. I wasn't sure if you were still there. What is your name?
Surely such a seasoned user of the dark side, if it allows you so much power, I don't have to tell you that. You should already know.
Do you think me so bruised to rip it from your mind?
Well, you were certainly brute enough to rip several other people's limbs from limbs, gauging from the village that we saw.
Ah, yes. That. Well, I am called Xenia Halcyon. And if you continue to be rude, that is your choice.
And she just sort of like nods and says, good to meet you, Xenia. I am Rone.
Rone. It's a beautiful name.
Yes, it means perseverance among my people.
Perseverance.
So don't try anything.
So you survive. You thrive.
Yes, as one with the Force, as the Force moves through all things. Do you,
What did you know about the village of Belderone? When you came and found that I had killed those people, what did you know about those people?
Simply that they were just a village, they were not very advanced, and that there were suddenly several murders there. I know about them as much as I know about most people in the universe, that they are likely other beings trying to survive, as you said.
I wish that you'd asked. Perhaps you would have helped me. You seem like you want to do the right thing, Rone. Is that true? Have I marked you appropriately?
I think she just kind of like sits up a little straighter and is like, as much as my ability, are the Sith now dispensers of justice? What was your mission?
Revenge. They enslaved, then murdered my sister. And Danielle's frozen. Dang it. We'll cut away from there. So we'll just say revenge, and then we'll cut away and we'll redo that scene. So, Gito, if you want to get this carbonite freezer up, I'm imagining that thing draws a lot of power. Does that feel right to you? Like,
yeah,
it's kind of risky to make that thing work, I would imagine.
There's a lot of power conduits and all that need to be refused. It's complicated. It's a difficult thing, especially since, a whole part of this ship got trashed by Foss. And it was not even done expertly. Foss obviously doesn't know much about spaceships.
Obviously.
But
Foss is like
the engines still work, but
she's a tree hugger. What's she know about? Yeah. So I imagine that if you wanted to try to get some carbonite freezing going, there's some risk here. Especially since you guys are in hyperspace, right? Or are you? Yeah, they're in hyperspace.
No, we're flying through hyperspace. Yeah.
Are you headed back to the temple, like general direction? Like you're.
Yeah. I think we're probably doing like the old tic-tac something, taking a slight divergent, in case there's some other ship.
We're on the same page. Yeah. I love it. Yeah, you want to do this here? Seems like Zagreus is pretty confident in your abilities. You don't want to disappoint him, do you?
No, certainly not.
You'd be right.
So yeah, I'm trying to get the carbonite thing up. And this is not near the, as it's a big hallway of a ship, right? So this isn't nearby. And it's near the holding cell. And I imagine I have to it's not used a lot, so there's like a whole bunch of stuff in the way. And Gito is just sort of trying to get all these power conduits back together. I guess I'm determining the consequences of failure next.
We're going to go to our first roll of what's so tempting about the dark side. So what you're trying to do is get the carbonite freezing chamber up and running. And how you want to do it is, I imagine, with your
fusion cutter and all that. Awesome. I think the consequences of failure here is we might drop out of light speed.
That feels right to me. I like that consequence.
And I have to reroute power live. So that's I think that's pretty obvious. Do we want to do the whole trophy everyone kind of offers a consequence of failure?
Sure. Consequence is currently on the table is consequence of failure. You fail, pulls you guys out of hyperspace. Does anyone have any other like, oh, it could be X or Y? Oh, yes, okay.
I think if you fail, you break the machine, like irreparably without expert help.
You have to go somewhere
yeah.
else to
Okay.
Or you freeze something that you put into it, like that you didn't mean to carbonite freeze. That's what I feel.
Zagreus! A nice Emerson chance he's okay. I thought he was going to jump up and out of, but no.
Just a box of your childhood mementos.
Oh, man. All right.
Your first wrench. No, which of those 3 consequences are you most interested in?
I like breaking it beyond the point of use.
I do too. That's cool.
I think that might make it a little more tense on the ship entirely, right?
Yeah, so it's not a mess up the engines. You're gonna have to go somewhere else if you actually want to. Maybe you have to go. I've heard like the Cloud City might have one of those. I've heard.
Oh. All right.
Awesome.
So I roll 2d6.
Yep. Are you using the dark side?
I don't think so.
All right.
I don't think it warrants the dark side.
Okay.
This isn't some dark Sith alchemy. It's just fixing it.
True.
All right.
So
I have a tool that's applicable, so I'll be taking +1.
Yeah, you have a tool that's applicable. You're not wielding your lightsaber. Are you using something else that's helping?
I mean, that is the spaceship itself, but I don't know if the spaceship's necessarily helping.
That makes sense. Yeah, it doesn't feel like that.
Yeah, and I'm not pushing myself to my limits. All right, here we go.
I don't know if there's help in this one, so I don't think you get help. So I think we could talk about that after, but we'll just go with that. Rolls straight for our first roll.
Oh no, I was talking the spaceship itself would be my
no.
I
know,
but
I
it's
know.
not
I
helping.
also was just asking it out loud about help, and I don't see it. So okay, okay. Is your opponent? Nope. Are you lacking the tools? Nope. Are you in a bad position? Or you've been caught off guard? Say no. Are you badly injured? No. Oh, that's why I put condition in, because badly injured is a possible condition you can.
Okay.
There we go. Yay. All right. So that means you're rolling 2d6.
7.
Oh, that's great. Because you have a tool that's applicable, so that adds +1.
No, I got a 6. I added the 1. I got a 7.
Oh. If your total is lower than an 8, you don't succeed, and the consequences of your actions come to pass. Either way, the GM will tell you what happens next. So you realize as you're putting this thing together, reconstructing it, that there are certain parts you've got to shave to get that bolt to work on. There are things that you have learned in your ship-breaking ways that you're rigging this thing. And Foss did a number on this. She had some meat on for this carbonite freezing chamber that you have. And you do the best you can. And when you come down and you check the readings, and Zagreus, you're here to witness this because it's a failure, so you should. You flip the toggle switch for it to come on and it goes, oh, boing, 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 boing. And some sparks light up, and then a small fire starts. What do you do, Cheeto, as you see as the wire starts to burn hot?
Oh, I farkled it. And I immediately start like throwing off all of the relays around it. Like I've got to isolate this thing before it takes out the engines, right? Which is the other failure petition. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I'm throwing off all the power, probably hitting the wrong thing a couple times. Lights might flicker.
Zagreus, you witnessed this.
Yeah, I think Zagreus was next to you, and he had his lightsaber in hand, and he was just doing like these sort of like almost swaying motions, moving with it, just getting practice in his time. And he sees this all go wrong, and his eyes narrow for a moment as he's trying to weigh whether was this you making an accident because you didn't follow some kind of manual or something, or was this more intentioned? And
Sargus, there's no book on this absolutely, Jawa rigged uh, sort of carbonite freezer. I've assembled this out of like 4 different ships.
why didn't you just, and like I feel like the why didn't you just buy one comes out of his mouth? Because he just, why did you bring one? Couldn't you just buy one? It just like his immediate thought, and then he's like, right, and he like goes to like pull something to like dampen any fire and help out, and he's like, it seems this option is off the table.
Yeah, it does seem that way.
It's
And Gino is like holding on to a power conduit and trying really hard not to squeeze it in anger.
And like you get like a like it's the version of a pat on the back that's the same as the drunk girl meme with the broom level of like level of affection. There, Gito, with your nature, you being prone to malfeasance and functions of this is not unsurprising. But with time, it can be worked on. I mean, we would have to present this to some expert, but I do not know if we have time with that, considering our quarry on the ship.
You're right. We need to get this Xenia back to. Well, I guess maybe I don't know their name. Let me get this Sith back to the temple. Mm-hmm. Master Kalos will know what to do.
We cut back to our interrupted scene. The last thing that Xenia had said was, you said, why did you revenge? They enslaved, tortured, and killed my sister. And for that, they had to pay.
Oof. I think she probably feels a moment of sympathy through the force. And Rone just says, I'm very sorry. Was your sister a Sith like you?
She was. She taught me the way of power. How to harness strength from passion. Gain power from that strength. Victory from that power. From there I broke my chains. She was weak. She had to have been weak for this village to have captured her so.
Sometimes sisters can be weak, but that doesn't mean you don't help them. That makes sense. What you did, I'm sorry that she led you along that path.
Why? Why are you sorry? I have strength I have never had before. The force is mine to command. Surely, you understand this, Rene?
My master has always taught us that the first folly would be to believe one could command the Force rather than putting oneself in alignment with it. And you're right, that path is less predictable. I cannot say I will go here and do that. But so much power. Certainly you've run into that. It seems like it would be uncontrollable.
It is a great deal of power, Rone. But it's also exhilarating. Taking control of your own destiny instead of leaving it to the universe to decide. Following your passions. Acting on what you want.
Is it not lonely for you?
It became lonely after my sister and I separated. I often wished that I had returned to her, and now I no longer have that choice. But the graveyard I left, the broken bodies, the price they paid for what they did to her seems a fitting memory for that.
And being in custody of Jedi, I'm sure your sister would not have wanted that for you.
Why do you ask? Are you looking to free me, Rene?
No, simply pointing out that choosing your own path as it is seems to have brought you inextricably into, and she just sort of like gesticulates at the door, imprisonment.
It has.
And then she feels like kind of bad because it's like, I have accidentally goaded the Sith into being like, hey, oh, you should prove your power by busting out. And she's like, but naturally, as a Sith, you would know that, with one Jedi, maybe there's a chance, but all of us, surely, yes, we are very trained and skilled at this for sure. But I know what that's like to be alone, and maybe the dark side doesn't promise this, but I don't feel alone. In the light side, maybe it's not as powerful, but it's connection with everything. It might be worth thinking about while you are also kind of stuck in here.
Perhaps. I have a question, Rene. And I'm sorry, but it's so obvious.
Yes?
You have a connection to one of the other Jedi who came with you.
Well, I know both of them, obviously.
Yes, the Arcanian, though. I felt something special there. You've been told to hide that, have you not?
It's more like to maintain an equal connection with everything. You should make sure that everything is an equal connection. He joined us late. He knows a lot. He also has studied a lot and given up a lot of autonomy to be here, and that is admirable. That's all. And if he is,
It's admiration I sensed that you felt for him then, for his sacrifices, not the strength of his jaw.
Rene fully like sits up like, listen.
At the angle of his neck, or how delicate his hands are.
They're the force.
I will torture you no more, Rene.
But yeah, I was gonna say like her face. I'm trying to think what green and red, some sort of modeled situation. But I think,
yeah, what color does blush?
I don't know. I think it's just like a darker green. And
you hear this warm chuckle from Xenia, and she says, "I will torture you no longer, Rene. You talk to me about being lonely, and yet your tenants force you to deny your own feelings. I think we both pity each other for different reasons."
And I feel like that's a great moment for Zagreus to like come in, sort of to relieve Rene of their position, and switch places. I think he sort of sachets in, and he's got this his usual adornments, but it's also sort of this very sort of cloak that he's wearing, or like a cape that's this fur, this very dense, very fluffy sort of fur that I think he thinks things are colder than they are. And again, he likes the tactile sensation of it, so he has it sort of clipped around him. It's one of the few luxuries, and he sort of denies that it's a luxury and says it's an item of necessity for warmth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but he clearly misses all of the soft like textures probably of home.
Yeah, and so you've definitely like caught him, stimming or something, probably with one of these soft items in the past. And he sort of sachets in and sees your mottled skin and, looks a little confused, and looks, Rene, I'm here to relieve you of your duty so you may take a break.
I think because this is so like unexpected, like there's definitely like a bigger woof in the force than like normally like would happen, where she's normally got it like locked down. I don't know if like Zagreus even gets a backdraft of like a startled but also like something else weird in the air, and then she's like, yes, wonderful, Zagreus, that you look good, you look cozy, because that you should, I've just been sitting here and she's in there.
Yes.
She's being talkative. Yeah. She might talk to you about stuff. And then she kind of like looks at the door and is like, we've just been talking about I've just been trying to interrogate her for information. So
what information have you found?
And I relay the information about the village, and like she was on a vengeance mission, etc.
And there's almost a coldness to Zagreus as he says weaker individuals are enslaved in many places. It's part of order of certain levels of society. We keep many in Arcania.
Mm,
It is a bit of a brutish
yeah.
practice, but there are lesser beings.
Oh boy. Yeah, I think there's a little like but then on Renee's side, but she's like probably don't mention that too, because you remember, and I haven't run into the dark side very much either, but she seems to run on passion. So you should, and she kind of looks like a little heartbroken when she says this. So like, actually, you should be fine. You should be totally cool. And then just kind of like pats his fur, and
Oh
just sort of
God.
like walks past like
You should drink some water. You look as if you've been heat indisposed.
and there's like a clearing of the throat, and she's like, I will do. I'll stop by the cantina. It is a little warm, but I run hot. So
I run cold.
yep, you do.
Gives you a little wave.
Yeah. A little bit,
You get this sense when he gave that recitation that he was just like repeating something that had been said to him.
Mhm.
Like, like in history, we learned da 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 da.
Yeah. Oh,
Kind of.
absolutely.
And so I
Yeah.
think, yeah, he watches you go. And then I think he like really steps actually quite close to the window and is sort of just like staring at her, watching her.
Oh man, I like that. So you stare through the window and see that she's seated, her legs in a pose not unlike the type of pose that Jedi will often take to meditate. But she's not meditating. She's sitting calmly, and she looks right back at you. I think it looks like maybe a staring contest.
It literally, yeah. I think it's literally just like a staring contest as he's trying to just observe her and figure out like what makes you tick. Why would you ever make this choice? How honed are you as an individual? Like, and
Nice.
I think he actually like does make a singular comment, which is like your left foot is off by 3 degrees.
Ooh, she's trying to disarm her, trying to break down. I love it. Do we feel like there's enough here for something risky? Because she, of course, could learn something about you.
Sure.
Happy. Let's do that.
Yeah. Oh, please.
Let us do that. So, what you're trying to do then is learn something hidden, or really take a measure of Xenia, right? Is that okay? Cool. And how you're trying to do it is a bit of a stare down, and also trying to critique her stance. This is good. Zagreus is just, yeah, it's very aggro. I love it. It's so good. So you're gonna roll 2d6. Are you using the dark side? Because she is strong in the dark side.
I don't
get a whole nother die. I'm just saying, get a whole nother die.
I don't think so. I think depending on how this is, he could be goaded into it though. But I think in this moment he believes his skills are enough.
Okay. So then you're going to roll 2d6, and then we'll ask some questions. You're not wielding your lightsaber. Do you have a tool that's applicable to the situation?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Consequences of failure.
Yeah, consequences of, thank you very much. What are the consequences of you failing? GM would throw out easily. She gets to ask a question or two of you. She gets to discover something about you.
I think that's a good one. I think this is essentially both of us are trying to find something out, and it's which of us can decipher the details a little better.
Samurai on either side of a bridge. Greg, Gito, what consequence do you?
Just might have mentioned it because you're so focused on her eyes and trying to read her that you miss she's undoing her cuffs with a tool.
Love that. That's a good one too.
Danielle, did you have any that you want to throw out? A consequence?
I think that the asking questions back is really good. I think that also maybe instead of that, she just picks something up, like Zagreus lets reveal something unintentionally.
Okay.
Like that she doesn't even ask about.
Yeah.
Didn't
So
even
I
ask. She's like pulled it. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think the questions would be maybe quote unquote out of character. Like I don't think Zagreus would give it up,
Picks
but
it
I
up through
think
the force. The
through
dark
the
side
force,
brings.
you can ask what questions to me that she wants to know, and I'll give the answers, but it's not an exchange between the two.
Okay. Is that the consequence that you're interested in?
I think so.
That's what
Honestly,
you're risking.
I'm open to both, depending on how badly I failed. Like, I think both could happen.
Okay. Thank you for asking about the consequence there, Greg. It's like right there, and I missed it, so I will get better. Do you have a tool that's applicable to this situation, Zagreus?
I don't think so.
And are you using something else that's helping? Your something else is your fabulous money. I don't think so.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Are you pushing yourself to your limits?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, he is rather focusing, but I don't know if that's pushing to limits or not. I'm a bit wary on that.
Yeah. Not opponent, not wielding a lightsaber. I think it's just a conversation. So you've got the tools you need. So I don't think that draws down. I don't think you're in a bad position, caught off guard. You're not badly injured. So you're going to be rolling straight up 2d6, looking for an 8. Let us see what the dice have for you.
An 8.
An 8. All right. So similar to how we described, or how Danielle had described, and you two had agreed, you can ask, let's say you can ask a couple questions, and they don't have to be in character questions. It could be things that you draw from her through the force.
Okay. I think, let's see. But I think he's curious. Like, you seem like a capable warrior. Like, why would you leave? Like, what would make you? He just doesn't. That's like a concept he doesn't understand. Is why someone would join the dark side.
Oh,
And so he's sort of curious, like questioning about what would have her join the dark side. What was giving all of this up, becoming this supposedly boogeyman? Like, what could do that to a person?
I grew the dark side of the force, perhaps as you've grown on the light side, because there was a gnawing concern about my own weakness, a worry that I was not good enough. Oh, no. The dark side came and it filled me with its power and taught me the ways that I could follow my passion, gain strength. Have you gained strength from the light side, Zagreus, or do you follow its whims like the wind or the water?
How do you know my name?
The dark side shared it with me.
He like straight up doesn't answer her. Like,
you get a second question if you would like.
I think the second question. Oh, this is so bad. Do you find it truly evened out your weaknesses?
Nice. No, not yet. There is a price we must each pay to ascend to the things, the beings we are meant to become. Destroying that village was one step along the path. There is more yet to be done. One could even say, I'm continuing to travel the path now. And we cut away to Renee and Gito, as this will be our last scene of the session. Renee, after that long conversation, and then the whole moment where she just tempted you with Zagreus, do you go to hang out with your friend Gito, or do you go somewhere by yourself? What do you do?
I don't think Renee wants to be like alone right now for sure. I think that she's going to go by the cantina, grab said water, and then turn up by wherever Gito's, maybe fuming. I probably heard that, he and Zagreus were working on something, but yeah, I'm just swigging water and I'm like, so the carbonite, did that not work out?
Oh, I think Gito's on the bridge at this point, and he's
Okay.
as you walk up, there's not a whole lot of barriers. You see like a blue hollow projection, and if you just catch the corner of it, it's Foss. It's like a recorded message, and he quickly closes it down. Yeah. Unfortunately, whatever Foss did to the ship, it didn't work out. And like he shakes some frost off of his hands. It's gonna be a long journey with that Sith in there.
Yeah, she sighs and is like, yeah, you're probably lucky to not be on watch duty. Maybe Zagreus will really take to it. He seems like very very, very cut and dry. There's she's certainly very talkative, but and I think Renee just slides into the seat and was like,
Right,
slide.
Gita's just moving some switches because that's what you do in Star Wars in the cockpit.
Yeah.
Renee, do you think it's wise? Zagreus is so young in the Force and has seen so little of the dark. I worry that he may be tempted. Not you, of course. I have no concern for.
Yeah, Renee just focuses on, beating a few buttons and is like, but Zagreus has given up so much. He for these tenants, it's so opposed to what he grew up with, but I that seems wise. Do you want to relieve him next and then he can be on the bridge, or maybe you want to accompany him on his shift?
I've met people who come from Zagreus's background. They're not going to listen to someone like me. It might sound better coming from you.
Someone like you, like someone more experienced than them?
Oh, I don't think that's the way Zagreus sees it.
Renee kind of like sits up a little bit and it's like, well, he should. If he doesn't.
Did you learn anything from our prisoner?
Yeah, she just kind of like slams some stuff, slams switches around, and it's like, oh, they're very she's very polite. Like, I don't know. I is that how Sith always are? I'd always thought that that they were, you know, more into smashing things up. And I mean, not like I've ever really talked with one before, but like,
Well, with Foss, it never seemed like she really changed till the very end.
yeah. Did she ever tell you why?
She said it gave her the power to change things. It's so much of the Jedi Order, so much of the Jedi way is reactive. She wanted to change things. I still think she wants to change things for what she sees as the better.
I mean, is that what we're in this for? Is that what you're in this for, Cheeto? For just power to do stuff? And I think she will like float a little screwdriver around or something like that in the thing, you know, just like, is that what?
I have seen too much of what power can do. Balance is the way. Balance is the way.
I forget you had a whole life before you came here. I know that we might be longer in the Force than Zagreus, but you both had to make your way outside first. I don't really know what that's like, but I'm glad that you chose this. And that you, and she kind of like looks over in the area where she totally didn't see like Foss's like hollow thing. Like, I'm glad you made different choices.
Leave it there.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. I love that. Oh, good. All right, we are right at time. If folks have a few minutes, I'd love to take them to do stars and wishes, but if you need to go, okay, cool. Woo, okay, we're no longer our characters. you are not Jedi who are struggling with somebody who's vested with the dark side tempting you. So we are going to talk about the game, though. We'll start off with wishes for our last session. Reminder, it's 2-shot. Boy, man, am I regretting it now, but it's okay. Anyway, so it's a 2-shot, so make sure these wishes are important, because I'm going to do everything I can to fully deploy these wishes, and we'll try to grant them together next session. And also, if you have a wish of, I was a little unclear on X or Y, that's important, or I hope that we can spotlight this particular element, that kind of stuff. Who'd like to go first with wishes? Kay, you haven't heard this part of the speech. I am the son of a Marine Corps sergeant who became a high school principal. I tell you that so that you understand I am very open to critical feedback, and it's all good. I'm not going to get defensive. Best I ever heard was not bad. So, it's good. Cool. So, who'd like to go first with wishes?
I can go first with wishes. Overall, for the system, I like what it's doing. I think this came out from like a fairly early trophy edition, so I'd love to see some of the newer trophy tech just applied to this. But yeah, no, I'm certainly enjoying it. I don't know entirely what skills do. besides define your character, because it doesn't seem like they come up in the actual roles themselves.
Well, I think it's in that talk off, like it's the art. Well, you're right. Where's
lightsaber tool, something else. I guess you could apply it to something else. I was just kind of very directly.
You're right. It should be more
of
expressly like, and do you have a skill to do this thing? Yeah, that's a good point.
That said, minor things. As far as wish, personally, I'm just gonna lean in, because if you don't roll the dark die, you're not gonna go up at the dark side. So I'm just gonna lean into that going forward, as a wish.
Okay.
And if I'm not clashing sabers with one of my fellow PCs by the end of the game, I will be a little sad. So
I love that.
Oh my gosh, I love it, but like I super hate it at the same time. Like, it's a good thing that I super hate it. Yeah.
That's it for wishes for me. Yep.
Thank you, Greg. So Danielle, okay. Do you have wishes?
Honestly, like I think that my wish is just to like see maybe Jito's avoiding a conversation with the Sith. But just maybe a little bit. But like I would love to see, him to have to do the tango with our very compelling Sith as always. Which is kind of like one of my stars, like to Rich, like like I would not like trust anybody else to do like a compelling Sith, but like just beautiful.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
so
that.
Civilized and infiltrating. But yes, so I guess my wish is to see that, and then maybe to have some kind of like maybe breaking point with Ronay at some point in one of those directions, like whether that means she expresses things at Zagreus or has to confront this like thing that she's done to keep Jito around, which I'm sure he'll very appreciate when that comes out. So which I'm sure will happen. Otherwise, my wish is just like to keep going and doing stuff. Like, yeah.
Thank you, Danielle. Okay, what about you? Got any wishes?
So for wishes, are we doing both stars and wishes, or just wishes?
We do a round of wishes, then we end with stars. So you get to go twice. You get to go wishes, and then you can turn right around to stars.
Okay. So wishes. Oh man, I definitely want some more interaction with this tempting, and that conversation to get a little more, furthermore of that between Zagreus and Xenia. I think that's really absolutely phenomenal. I too will probably lean a little more into the dark side. I think that's something I want to do with that temptation and sort of the mind sphere for that. Not gonna lie, wishes, the only thing stopping us from having more than 2 sessions is ourselves. Just gonna put that out there. We all seem to be really enjoying this. I can't believe how wishes. So that I'm gonna second Danielle, sort of one of those 2 confrontations I think would be really great, or both. I think they're both really good. I'd love to see, just as someone who's maybe a bit of newbie for Star Wars, I definitely do want to see the lightsabers come out. I feel like that's such like a pinnacle of like this thing, from what I do understand, that I would love to see that. And awesome. Then going into stars, just first one giant star. This was absolutely amazing. Super, super fun. I'm not going to lie. I really loved the themes of this. And then I was really nervous at first, where I was like, I really don't know Star Wars. I've watched a couple movies. I know friends who are in the fandom, so I just know some like weird random things from things they've told me, but I'm really just not aware, is that going to hinder me the game? But it didn't at all. In fact, it definitely like made me super interested, which is really great and really fun. Stars, I'll just go around like Rich. Oh my God, I love Xenia. Xenia is everything I want in those kind of tempting characters. I love how expertly tailored, from just the minute information we gave you, her questions were to each of us, or at least she hasn't gotten to Jito yet, but for Ronay and Zagreus, to sort of pull at what might tempt them. what might be the thing that they're sort of at their weak points of were just so perfectly pinpointed. You know, this longing for family and love for Roné, and Zagreus's concern about his own weakness and wanting to be the best, and how it was never, you know, she was either very direct with Roné, which worked, but she was also like to the side with Zagreus, and so it was very complementary to each of their personalities and who they were to sort of create that tension of temptation. So that was just several layers of chef kiss. And Roné, I mean, I can't. I love her. She's such a sweet pea, but she's like firm when she needs to be. And she's just got like really, really great energy, I feel like, for that. I love the cute little crush and hidden romance, and how like it just, the scene where just like Cyrus just doesn't get it at all. And she's just like, oh, you sweet summer child. But in like but almost like, yeah, just in the best ways. And I think there's some real potential there for some real fun role play moments that already have happened. Honestly, I've really enjoyed that talk. And like, I want to call us team shoulder pats, because I feel like we all just give each other awkward shoulder pats. Touches, just awkward back shoulder touches. This is like our go-to move. That happened with both Zagreus to Jito, and then Roné and Zagreus, which was phenomenal. And then, oh, Jito. I love Jito. The sort of weird lung of the phosphorus, that sort of dynamic there is just absolutely great. I love, Greg, how you leaned in character creation, and you were like, yep, they think Foss did it. And that just like immediately, like that was such a clutch key moment. And then I feel like there's some really great tension also between Jito and Zagreus, and I'm very curious to see like where that's going to lead. And like the whole like, I don't think Zagreus respects me, and Roné is like, but why not? Like, you're more experienced as that. And just like then completely like, and changing the subject, like not even touching that. It was just such a great, yeah, it was the whole just, yeah, it was all phenomenal. Such a gelling, and it was such a smooth entrance into a system and a setting. And I think that's really great. Like, I've played games where like people have made great characters and things like that, but to really have them be like a team or a party like off the bat can be really hard. But I feel like these three just like instantly clicked, and that doesn't happen without A, good role play, and B, just like yes anding, and also but like also having a willingness to sort of flow and ebb that sometimes people have a lot of difficulty with. So I think, you know, you both did phenomenal.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Kay. That's fantastic. Danielle, did you have any stars?
Yes. Obviously, yeah, star to everybody. This was super interesting. Thanks for being like, with character creation, being willing to get so intermixed with each other, which always creates those really fun polls on things. I really love the like, I loved that, Rich, you were like, all right, you gotta have a secret crush, because like I love when that's like a, I love that dynamic. So I guess part of a wish is like, we don't know if Zagreus has any feelings like that. Maybe that's not like a thing that he feels. I don't know. But yeah. And I really love Jito's like calmness, and like that line where you were like, pause, and then you're like, balance is the only way forward. And totally, because like I was gonna like have her be like, yeah, well, I'm not worried about you like at all, because like I know you totally stayed here on purpose, right? You know, like I love that that's a thing where like he stayed almost against his will. Thanks for leaning into that. Like with Zagreus, I love like the furs and the like the hoity-toity backstory, and like how that gives him blind spots that he's not even aware of, and how that interacts. And yeah, it was just a lot of fun. And I think games around temptation are difficult to have unless you have good reasons for being on both sides. And I think that there are still like really good like reasons, while also like not going into it with like all the Jedis are wrong. Everything should always be gray, which is kind of sometimes a thing people bring to Star Wars stuff. So I really appreciate the like playing with light and dark throughout this.
Man, you spoke to my heart there, Danielle, with all those. I'm right there with you. Greg, any stars left on the table? I know we're continue to go long, so I apologize.
No, it's okay. So Star Wars Young Jedi Knights were like the first Star Wars books I read, and it's about young Jedi Knights, and they're like they're, what is it, Jaina and Jansen Solo. I had to look it up because it's been a long time since I read them, but they're like Han Solo's kids. Anyways, that's the serious like feeling I was getting from this, which was like, oh yes, I've been looking for some Padawan action. They don't know about the Force very well, and getting up to hijinks together. So I'm loving that. Danielle, as always, it's a pleasure to play with you again. I enjoyed our little scene there at the end, and I'm sure nothing terrible will happen at all. And then Kay, huge star to you for jumping into a Star Wars Saturday session, and having limited and apparently now growing knowledge of Star Wars. So, and you hit every Star Wars thing perfectly. So don't be concerned at all. It was great. I love Zagras. I'm gonna get it right. I love Zagras, and I love the sort of status thing that we're playing up. It's interesting to have a Jedi who is at the same time comes from a wealthy family and is still a little tied to that. And to have Gito, who is on the opposite, still a little tied to his, I don't know, wears it on, chip on his shoulder kind of thing. So I'm looking forward to that playing
out. We're long, so I'll briefly say I knew Greg and Danielle were awesome. I did not know the level of awesome that you bring, Kay. Wow, brilliant. Zagras, the embodiment of the character just from like first, I'm like, oh shit, that's so good. I have such a stark mental image of him just from that first entrance to come in and speak. So good. I really, hats off. I'm glad that you're streaming a lot now. I'm like, if I end up with spare time, I need to go watch Kay play other games. And Greg, thank you so much for your help with trophy rules and just being awesome. I'm sorry that you did not get as many scenes, and that is a personal wish. I want to give you some more screen time. And Danielle, my wish is that your internet would be nicer to us, because any minute that you're stolen away from us makes me sad. So I hope the storms rage no more in a week hence, and we will pick this thing up and play some more. Yeah, sachets in. Such a great quote. All right. Thank you all so much for playing, and anybody for watching.